So some of the filtering we can do, you can go back here to this 2D filtering, and I'm going to go down to analytic signal. The input grid is not, it's going to be this RTP grid. And the output grid, I'm going to just add on a little extension to the name so I know what I've done. So I'm literally just going to go right-click, copy, right-click, paste, and then over here in the file name before the .grd, I'm going to add in AS for analytic signal. I'm going to leave the rest as default, and I'm going to click OK. And on the screen is what comes up as the analytic signal. So before we discuss it further, let's just load it on the map. I'm just going to close my grids in the background here. So here's the map. I double click on it, I increase its size, I go grid and image, display on grid, on map, grid, and from the drop down I choose the analytic signal, take off smoothing, click on shading, add a color bar. You can add a color bar. I don't know if it really makes sense. I mean, for neatness, you should have one. Click on current map. I'm just double checking it's choosing my analytic signal. So I am going to change my title to TMI AS, and I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to take off my old color bar so I can show you why it's I've forgotten to do something on the color bar. So, but here's the map plotted on top. So I'm just going to quickly edit the color bar, which is a great chance to see how to do that. If you want to do it, you click on the color bar you want to edit in this left-hand map manager menu. It highlights it. You now put your mouse on top of the highlighted region, right-click, go down to color bar. And it takes you back to this menu to edit. What I forgot to do was take off my decimal places. So I'm going to put 2 decimal places, and I'm going to click OK. And now you can see what sort of values you're dealing with and why it's maybe not so much sense having a color bar. But yeah, the nice thing now, I'm going to put back on my RTP menu. Sorry, grid. I'm just going to increase here so I can remember what I did. So over here, I'm taking off my normal magnetic data. I've got my RTP and my analytic signal, and I just want to compare them. And so I switch off my analytic signal. And it's interesting to see how much of the signal from this big pink anomaly is not really that clear. And it's because analytic signal, you're really focusing on shallower stuff. And I know this, in this region, this anomaly is probably about 5 to 10 kilometers deep. So a lot of what's being brought out is this line here and this line here, both of which I think are darks. I thought this was a power line, but I've gone back and looked through. I suppose if it was a power line, we would see it here. And it definitely is. It seems to be a dark, and that's a dark there as well. It's also picking up the edge of what is most likely sills in this area. So that's your analytic signal. Again, it's great for bringing out shallow features. Let's do another shallow filter is analytics 2D filtering menu. Tilt derivative is also pretty useful, but let's go for now. We're going to go mag map, and we are going to do the vertical derivative. So you can see in this menu, please go down and make sure you've got the RTP grid. And then underneath here, I've already got that grid there, but I'm going to add underscore VD for vertical derivative. Click on edit filter, click on this drop down, go all the way up to derivative. And you can see there's 3 different types of derivatives you can choose. Oh, and you could change the order of the derivative. The higher the order, often just the noisier and worse the data looks. Let's see if we can see that here. If we type in 3, you can see here you're really not seeing much in the data. But it can help to bring out some of the shallow features. So for now, we're just going to click on 1, click OK, OK. And there's our grid. I just want to overlay it on our map. So remember, double click on your map, which I've already got here. Maximize and go grid and image, display on map, grid. On the drop down, I'm choosing my vertical derivative. I'm choosing shading, I'm taking away smoothing, and I'm clicking on the current map. And it's giving us a color bar, which I'm just going to, change my title to VD. And I'm going to click OK. Okay, I'm going to take away the analytic signal color bar. Did I not? I think I didn't change the decimal places. Sorry, didn't double check that. So I'm clicking on the color bar here, right clicking, going color bar, and changing the number of decimals. There. Okay, so you can see now, right now I've got my RTP grid and my vertical derivative loaded, and if I take it on and off, again, you are seeing a bit of this large anomaly, but the main focus is these shallow dikes and sills. Yeah, so these two are very shallow filters, the analytic signal and the vertical derivative. And let's, for completeness, just go here to the 2D menu and do tilt derivative. So again, input grid is going to be your RTP. I'm just going to copy this and paste it here so I can not have to find it. And I add in the letter TD for tilt derivative. And here I add in underscore TD HD. Because it says here it's a horizontal derivative of the output grid. So it's the horizontal derivative of the tilt derivative, I assume. Let's see if we leave output database blank, if it sorts that out itself. And I click OK. And the first one that comes up always looks a bit weird, although this looks pretty fun. So this is the horizontal derivative of the tilt derivative. I'm going to close it for now. And this is the tilt derivative. It's often very squiggly. Analytic signal is very splotchy and tilt derivative is very squiggly. I've got my map here. I maximize it and let's plot the tilt derivative. So I go grid and image, display on map, grid, and tilt derivative here. Smoothing, current map. Changing this to space tilt derivative and number of decimals to 2. Click OK. And take off the other color bar. And so yeah, it's just interesting to compare them and see the different features that you see, things that are missing. Would be nice to take a screenshot of all of these and put them next to each other and have your magnetic data as well to just compare them alongside. And so the last filter we're going to do is a long wavelength filter because we really want to bring out this deeper anomaly here. And so again, 2D filtering, magmap filtering. Keep the RTP up top here, and now at the bottom we're going to say LP for low pass. Go edit filter and go here to the drop down to nearer the bottom, low pass. It asks you what the cutoff wavelength is, and so what that's talking about you can see in your power spectrum up here. Going along the axis here is your wavelength. So your shorter wavelengths, or these small little bumpy things on your map, are down at the bottom here, and there's lots of them. That's why this plot goes high in this region. And as you go further along, the wavelength of the anomaly gets larger, but there's also fewer of them. So there's only really one or very few anomalies with this long wavelength in this study area. So we are cutting out this red region and excluding it from the grid. But you can see at the moment the original grid and the filtered grid is really not much different. So I'm going to play around with this value to make them different. So if I type in 10,000 and I click enter, you can see we start to lose a lot of the small bumpy details in this filtered grid compared to the original grid. And you can really go play around with these values, but I'm going to stick with 10,000 for now. You've got to really find what works for your area. Yesterday, I know we put in 20,000. And you kind of completely lost any structural correlation. I would just got this big blob. And if you went down to 5,000, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, you're still getting a lot of detail. It's the 5,000 compared to the 10,000 still picking up a lot more of the shallow detail. So you kind of just got to figure out what works for your area. I'm going to click OK. I like to go and write down what wavelength I used in the file name so I can remember later. So I'm going to say 10K, click OK. Here it is, plotted on my map, grid and image, display on map, grid, click over here, and it's that one, shading, take away smoothing, color bar, current map. And this is now LP10K, and we don't need the decimal places anymore, and I'm going to click OK. And so you can see the focus here is a lot more on this long wavelength feature compared to, compared to the shallower filters. So, and then this is comparing it with the actual TMI data. You want to maybe save your grid and then use your filters.